Free. And Dr. Eli Karam is in the house, one of my favorite segments because this is reality television at its best. Dr. Karam, is it okay if I call you Dr. Eli?
Oh, of course it is, John.
You are the president of the Kentucky Association of Marriage and Family Therapy,
yes.
Right? Okay, tell us a little bit about that and what people, where people can go if they have issues with their family, if they have issues with their marriage. Where can they go to get some good information?
Right. Well, Kentucky Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, KAMFT, is going to be the professional home for almost 400 marriage and family therapists in Kentucky, many of those right here in Wave Country. And you can go to www.therapistlocator.net. Right there, as you see on your screen, there's that rectangular red box that says Locate a Therapist. Click on there. You put in whether you know the therapist's last name or not. Maybe you just know your zip code or general area. There's multiple ways to search for a therapist. You put that on there. It's going to give you a profile of therapists. Many of these therapists will have their own links to their websites, and you find someone that's a good fit for you, and you kind of can talk about a lot of stuff we've been talking about on these segments all year. And we have an email that actually leads into a pretty hot topic in the field today.
That's right, we do. And in fact, if you have a question for future shows, I recommend once again KAMFT@insightbb.com. All right, we have such a question. Here we go. I'm going to put you to work, Dr. Eli. Dear Dr. Eli, I have been married for 18 years and have 2 teenage children. While I care about my husband very much, I'm not sure that I'm in love with him anymore or even have much in common outside of doing things centered on the kids. I'm only 47 years old. I feel like I owe it to myself to be happy and fulfilled. I am unsure of, however, if I can do that while staying married. Recently, I heard of a new type of work with couples called discernment therapy. Can you explain what that is and if I would be a good fit for this? Rita, thank you very much for the email. Discernment therapy.
Yeah.
Doc?
Yeah, discernment therapy. This was going to be featured last year in the New York Times and also in USA Today. Started by Bill Doherty, who's a well-known marriage and family therapist at the University of Minnesota. So discernment therapy is just for someone, Rita, in your situation. So it is for people who are considering divorce but are not completely sure if it's the right path for them. They're kind of stuck where they're at, but they want to take one more look before making such a permanent decision that's going to have long-term implications for yourself, your spouse, and your family and your kids. It's also for people who really want to give their marriage another chance, but their spouse is kind of ambivalent or on the way out. So they don't want to give up even if their spouse is contemplating it. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. All right, so if you are ambivalent, if you have been in, like our viewer that sent in the email, she's in a marriage a long time. She has teenagers. The marriage has been focused on the children. There's not much with the couple going on there. And when you think about if your children are about to launch, go to school, what really keeps us together if not our kids? And we really don't have much in common. We have not been nurturing the couple. So I don't know if I have what it takes to work on this marriage. Traditionally, in the field of couple and family therapy, we would believe it was a failure if we could not save every marriage. And marriage is very important. We know that relationship. But now we don't necessarily consider it a failure in the sense we'd rather have someone be really motivated to do the work. Because if not, the couples therapy is probably not going to go anywhere. The motivation is the client, and we know from all the good research, is the most important factor on who's going to make it or not. And so if you have one motivated client that wants to save the marriage and one that doesn't, we got a problem. So discernment therapy, you would find a marriage and family therapist on therapistlocator.net that is familiar with this type of work, and the therapist would meet both members of the couple together first, and usually a 2-hour meeting, and would explore kind of what's going on in the marriage. And usually, again, one person is on the fence or on the way out, and one person wants to work on it. So obviously, the discernment process then uses 1 to a maximum of 5 meetings, again, usually 50 minutes to an hour and a half max, where the therapist is working individually with both members of the couple. And what happens is 3 things during that time. The therapist is going to help you work on kind of 3 narratives or stories. The first story is the divorce narrative, how we got in trouble, what happened in our marriage that went wrong. The second story is a story of repair. What did you do to try to fix it? And the third story is a story of possible reconciliation or repair. Now, in a discernment period, it is what it means in the sense that the therapist is not pushing you either way. It's helping you explore these options and look at the long-term effects. And we tell people it is a decision whether you, especially if you have children, you might not be married to this person forever, but you will, when you look at those child, if it's your biological children, you see your spouse reflected in that, and you will be a co-parent with them for life, regardless of whether you're married to to them or not. So it's a decision you have to work on very carefully. So the discernment process also helps you to, again, look at your part. The discernment process is not you sitting there venting, blaming your spouse for 5 hours for a month. It's not like that. It is look at what you did to contribute to what got you stuck. And I always tell people, John, I've never seen a relationship where one person is 100% of the blame. It is usually a couple mutual interaction. And for those that really want to work on something, have to see their part in that. And a lot of people, you know, they don't, it's easy for them to cast blame on their partner. It's harder for them to look at their piece. So after that happens, couples that are successful look at really what's changeable, what they can fix, and what they can't. And really, a lot of the marital research says, believe it or not, 69% of all couple conflict is not solvable. So when something is not solvable, it takes acceptance or tolerance. So a discernment process is the therapist is going to work with you to decide, okay, what in my relationship really can't be fixed, and what can I accept about my partner or tolerate about my life, and what can't I? And people, when they do this process, if it tramples their spirit, their core, who they are, they have a harder time making that concession. So if the end of the discernment process is you are being asked to compromise on something that is core to your belief or that will stop you from kind of moving on. You know, our viewer that sent in the email was at midlife. You know, it's hard to think of being stuck in something when you have 30, 40 productive years left. And therefore, if it is something that you cannot tolerate or accept, the end of the discernment process comes after that 4 or 5 session period. The couple comes back together and they decide with the therapist, okay, after evaluating everything, can we work on this or not? If they can, you can begin couples therapy full on, much as we've discussed on our segments. And if not, the therapist can work with you or refer you to another therapist that can help you disentangle if the divorce is the way you're going. Work in the best interest of the children, move forward, holding your head up high, knowing you did everything you could. Most people, when they walk away from the process, even if it's something they are trying to get out of, they have guilt and shame associated with ending a relationship or divorce. They carry that with them. In this process, you can hold your head high, have respect for your partner, and also be able to tell your children one day when they're old enough to understand that you did everything you could. And then the other scenario is, hey, you found her in this process, you can accept or tolerate more than you thought, and we can actually start and do this work. So both outcomes are possible with the discernment therapy.
I would think both necessary too, because if the consensus is we need to end this, then obviously you have to help both the husband and the wife deal with closure and how we move on forward in a positive way.
Exactly.
As you said, because you still have kids together, you still have issues, you're going to be bonded for the rest of your life.
Right. You got to work together either
Sure.
way.
All right, let me throw this up here real quickly again. That is the website, KAMFT. If you have questions for future shows you'd like us to address, we'll do that. In fact, we had a couple of calls here. We're not able to get to them. Dr. Eli, you're very popular. Yeah. Thank you so much. This is good information. And again, if you're looking for a therapist, if you have an issue in your marriage, with your family, perhaps you have a blended family, that's the therapist locator. There it is on the screen.
Therapistlocator.net. It's our national, the American Association of Marriage and Family Therapy, AAMFT. It's our national clearinghouse. Go on there, log on, and we'll see you next week, John.
All right, thank you very much,
right.
Dr. Eli. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about an adventure that's educational at the same time. Angela Riggs is coming on the show. We'll be right back on Wave 3 Listens.